Welcome back everyone to another episode of XanTech, and today we are going to be doing a BIOS update. Now I've been getting loads of questions from friends, family and you guys watching about BIOS updates. Is it necessary to do? Is it safe? Can I do it on my own? Well, the answer to all of that, I say, is a yes. Now these days you get loads of RAM coming out, loads of motherboards coming out, loads of processors coming out, and sometimes the compatibilities aren't there. Sometimes you might have a motherboard and the BIOS drivers are out of date, and then they won't communicate properly with the RAM, they won't communicate properly with the processor. So I say it's a big yes to update that. And all you need is a flash drive. Now, I'm going to take you through the process, make it as painless as possible. So without further ado, come a bit closer and let's get into it. Okay, so now that we're at the computer, open up your favorite browser, go to your favorite search engine and type in the name of your motherboard. In this case, it's going to be an ROG Strix B550-F Gaming Wi-Fi. Once you find that, go over to the drivers and utilities. Check that your driver is the exact one for your motherboard. Make sure you type it in correctly because you don't want to mess this up. Like I said, mine is the ROG Strix B550F Gaming Wi-Fi. This is the latest BIOS, so we go ahead and click download. That'll be done in a few seconds depending on your computer speed and the size of the file, of course. Then we can close this. Open up our destination folder. In this case, it's the flash drive. Then we just extract that into here. Once that's done, it'll just take a moment or two, of course, depending on your computer. Okay, now that that's done, you'll see we have two files here. And first of all, you're going to have to double click the BIOS renamer. Let me just make this larger for you guys. The BIOS renamer, you double click that, it will run, and over here it'll tell you what it's going to be done. It needs to be renamed to cap. Press any key to continue, so we press any key. Then this is the file that is done, and now we move on to the next step. Alright, so now that we have downloaded the file, extracted it to the flash drive, we can reboot our system. So we go ahead, click the start button, click the power button, click on restart, and to enter the BIOS, make sure you're mashing that delete key. And here we are in the BIOS. Now over here, we're going to press, since this is a Asus motherboard, I press F7 to go into the advanced mode. We can go over to tool, and over here at the top, we'll see the Asus Easy Flash 3 utility. So we go ahead and click that. We have to find our flash drive, which will be this one up here for me, the top one. And we can see the file over here is rb55fgw.cap. So we go ahead and click that one. Now you'll get this warning message pop up to back up your BitLocker recovery key, suspend BitLocker encryption in the operating system before updating your BIOS. If you have a BitLocker key, make sure you do that. So cancel this, go back and back up BitLocker, cancel it, and then start this process again. If you've never set up a BitLocker, you don't have to worry about this. This is just like a warning just to keep everything safe. So you can go ahead and click yes. Do you want to read this file? Then you go ahead and click yes. Now it will lock up for a second over here. Don't worry about that. It'll ask you again, do you really want to update the BIOS? Here's the information. The version you'll see is here, 3607. The release date will be at the bottom. If you notice at the top here, my version is 3202. So it's a little bit behind. So we want to go ahead and do this. So again, we click yes, and the process will start. Okay, now while that's working, I need to take this moment to tell you guys, while the BIOS is updating, if you have any kids running around, if you have pets, anything like that in your household, get them all out of the room. If you have the cables like I do underneath the desk, I've got the power strip there, everything's plugged into there. Get away from your desk so that you don't accidentally tangle a cable up with your feet and unplug it so that your kids or your pets or anything don't bump the computer, don't get tangled up in the wires. You don't want anything like that disturbing the update. Otherwise, you could brick your system, and we don't want that. So make sure if you're in an earthquake area, make sure there's no earthquakes. If you're in a hurricane area, make sure there are no hurricanes. Just stay away from the computer. Don't touch it. Let it do its process. It will take a little bit of time. So go away, make yourself a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, have a chat with the missus or whatever. And when it's done, it's done. You might be tempted a few times, to unplug it or restart or turn off, because it's going to go through a few cycles. Let it do its thing. Just don't worry about it. Like I said, pick up your favorite book, read a few chapters or whatever, however long this takes. And then once it's done, we will continue. So until then, we'll press pause. Okay, and we are back. Once it's done, you'll be greeted with this screen. All you need to do is press F1 to run setup. So we'll do that. We'll press F1. And here we are greeted with the BIOS screen. Okay. We can see the BIOS version here is 3607, which is exactly what we did. You can go ahead and check everything that you need over here. Make sure everything is okay. If it is, you can go ahead and press F10. It'll save your settings. At this point, you can unplug the flash drive. We don't need that anymore. Press OK, and the system will reboot and take you back to your Windows. And there you have it. Job done. Well, there you go, guys. That was a step-by-step guide on how to update your BIOS. Hopefully, if you followed the instructions, it helped you guys out and your system is running fine. So until next week, guys, take care.